Hey everyone, playing Guy 31 today on another VATSIM video. Today we're going from LaGuardia, New York LaGuardia to Toronto, Pearson International up in Ontario, Canada. We're going to be flying an Airbus A320 today, operated by Air Canada. We're at the gate right now. We're going to be starting from cold and dark, starting the batteries on to inputting the FMC, getting clearance with New York, and we'll be on our way to Toronto here shortly. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Okay, so right now we have no electronics on. There's nothing on in here. It's dead in here. That's why they call it the cold dark, for those who don't know. So first off, we want to just do a few checks, make sure everything's in the right spot. Nothing's like the throttles, for example, they're idle. Okay. The engine selectors are off, flaps are up, speed brake, parking brake, put that on. Let's see, everything is off over here, the wiper is parked. Alright, let's go up to the overhead panel. Alright, so this is where all the magic happens, most of it. So we're going to start off by putting on the batteries. Alright, so now the aircraft is kind of alive right now. Right now we're going to turn on the logo lights, signs, arm, seat belts, no smoking. I turn on the overhead panel light, probe heat, APU bleed, APU generator will be on. We'll keep these on for now, even though the APU isn't on yet, just because we're going to need that later, so we won't forget. The fuel pumps are off. And it looks good. I'll just keep those on. So yeah, so it looks good. We can get the GPU unit, the power into the aircraft. So now the aircraft is being powered by the ground power unit that is outside. You can hear the those fans. I believe those are the cooling fans. I'm not too familiar with how the engineering works in this, but I think those are the cooling fans. So we're good now. We won't turn on the APU just yet. So we're back in the cockpit, or we're in the cockpit, but the front seat. Something that you might notice is that all the panels are off. You're absolutely right, they are off. It's not something that we forgot. It's in terms of the brightness, so it's like these switches over here. You gotta turn these to the dial up so they're on to a favorable amount. I don't really know what that does, but that all the way up. One back here. The ECAM displays, upper ECAM, lower ECAM. Make sure it's not bright like that, just so it's very clearly visible. Set the altimeter to the right, it's measurement. Okay. So now we're gonna do okay, so now we'll revert to the IRS. Go to just do it from here. IRS, we want to set those to nav. And the FMC, we already reset the IRS to nav, so we're at LaGuardia. We're going to Toronto. From 2 and the align IRS. Now we wait. See this this thing here? It says IR in align 5 minutes. That means not the IRS. This isn't really the IRS per se. It's aiders. From what I understand, the difference between the IRS and the aiders is the same principle of getting the primary location of the aircraft, of where it is geographically. But on Airbuses, since it's like the controls aren't bound to the or like the like the flight stick isn't bound to the actual control surfaces. So the aiders actually also connects those, I guess. And so like here on the MFD, it'll show where you are, and then over here it's going to show the on the PFD, primary flight display. It'll show your altitude, your attitude, and stuff. So then when the aiders is properly aligned, it's good. On IRS, things that you find in the 737, the controls are actually, the stick is actually bound to all the controls. So it doesn't need that extra air. ADER stands for Air Data Inertial Reference System, I think it is. But that air data is already you don't need it on 737s because it's already somewhat bound. That's just from my understanding. So while the IRS is aligning, I'm going to now start up my APU, and we'll disable the ground power momentarily. So while that's waiting, you can actually tune in to the ATIS. So we'll turn on the comms. You can see 12705 is the ATIS in LaGuardia.
approach in use. Land runway 4. Departing runway 31. Emerging runway operations in effect. Bird activity vicinity of LaGuardia Airport. Operate transponder on mode C on no taxiways and runs. Respect all runway and taxiway hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact.
There.
You have information Oscar.
Information Oscar.
LaGuardia Airport ATIS information Oscar.
Yes, we don't need this.
16260. Wind 330 at 15 gust 28. Visibility 4. Right lane. Mist. 400 broken. 800 overcast. Temperature 4. 2.3. Altimeter 2925. ILS runway 4 approach in use. Land runway 4. Departing runway 31. Emerging runway operations in effect. Bird activity in the vicinity of LaGuardia Airport.
So 1208 is
on mode C on no taxiways and runways. Respect all runway and taxiway hold.
Who's currently controlling LaGuardia. Okay, so I start up my weather engine. So we got weather outside now. Tune on to the frequency, and we're going to start getting clearance. And New York approach, good afternoon, Canada 707 on the ground, LaGuardia. Request clearance to Toronto. Ah, dang it, I think I forgot to say information Oscar. That's okay.
Air Canada 707, New York departure cleared at Toronto Pearson International Airport. LaGuardia 5 departure accept fly heading 360. Radar vectors Gale and is filed. Maintain 5,000. Expect flight level 300 in 10 minutes. Departure is this frequency, squawk 1177.
I think he said 1107 for the squawk. Alright, clear to Toronto, LaGuardia 5 departure. We'll accept heading 360 on departure. Radar vectors Gale, then as filed. We'll maintain 5,000. We'll expect flight level 30010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency with you and squawk 1107, Air Canada 707.
Correction, America, jeez. Air Canada 707, there we go. Just verify squawk 1177.
Oh, 1177. 1177. Our apologies for Canada 707.
No worries there. Canada 707. Read back correct.
Yes.
Mission starting discussion advised, leaving taxi holding short of Alpha runway 31 for departure. Information Oscar current at LaGuardia.
Alright, push to start at our discretion. We'll call your taxi holding short of Alpha. We're expect runway 31, information Oscar, Air Canada 707. Okay, I'll put transponder to TARA just before I forget. Set departure speed, I always set it to about 200 knots in this. You said maintain 5,000. I'm going to look at the LaGuardia 5 departure chart. Oh jeez. Lots and lots of pages. Departures are confusing. They can be if you're not used to it. Okay, so we said runway 31. Heading 314 or as assigned, maintain 5,000. Alright, so it's pretty straightforward. Off of this runway, we don't have to take any DMEs or anything. Good. I'm looking at the notes. Traffic filed over Biggie, Atlanta, Elliott Park. Please zoom into New World to exceed 250 knots until reaching 11,000. Well, Gale departures. Gale departures, spec vectors to Deer Park 320. So let's just set our VOR 1 to Deer Park. So that's 117.7. Brad. Actually,
Delta 118 is holding short, blue at 31, ready to go.
Delta 118, wind 330, gust 1, correction, wind 33015, gust 28 for runway 31.
So it doesn't show how far we are yet because it's so probably too far out, you can't see it.
Take off, Delta 118.
Either or. Alright, time lapse of planning. That was quick. So rule of thumb, don't set your arrival SID into your FMC when you're still on the ground. Only put it to the transition waypoint, and then when you get closer you can determine what runway you're going to land on. What the heck is this? Teddy Seligman? What? I'm just gonna see if there's something in my flight plan that you might be seeing. I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that, so just question mark. Delta 8121, who's... Where's Delta... What? Who's this guy? 81...
Delta 118, radar contact altitude.
Oh, jeez.
7.
Oh, we slowing yet.
Up to 17,000.
Alright. Well, that happens every once in a bit. That's funny. Alright, so let's remove the traffic cones, wheel chocks. No, sir. No, sir. Yes. Very formal language on the VATSIM network. Okay, turn off the GPU. We're done with it. And now all the power is directed from the aircraft's power unit. Okay, good. Yeah, so if the rule of something interesting, important.
Delta 118 cleared back from Merritt,
About,
contact Boston Center,
like frequency, like talking on
4.7
frequency
engine
and
Strike Merritt, order.
Alright, so since the gate doesn't work for some reason, the scenery, it's outdated as well. Close the door. Alright, let's do the startup checklist. I don't have a checklist. Damn it. Alright. Beacon on, nav on. Landing, or the seatbelt signs on. As required, RS is aligned. Let's just test the alarms. Engine 2 fire. Engine 2 fire. APU fire and engine 2 fire. Okay, good. 1 APU 2. Good. Alright. APU bleeds on, probe heat. Turn on the anti-ice when we're there. TA only, so the TCAS is on, which is good. He said heading 360, so I'll just line that up. Well, 0. It's the same thing. 360 and 0. Basic aviation laws. There's the coordinate 360 and 000 are the exact same thing. Okay, so on my clearance, he said 5,000 feet. 12.77. Okay, good.
approach, Delta 1734, descending through 10,000 for
Alright, close the table.
8,000 at bases and information Oscar.
Parking brake off.
Delta 1734
Sure we're
in the
clear
approach,
both
expect vectors
sides.
ILS runway 4 approach.
Let's just make sure like this. There's
I was
nothing
forward,
behind us.
Delta 1734.
You said to contact him hold short of Alpha, so that would mean I hold short right here and wait. Alright, let's push back. Let's put our engine selector ignition start to number 2. And steady airflow of N1. Steady flow N1. There we go. Got EGT rising. Ah. Alright, I think we're good about maybe here. Set the parking brake. Alright, so it's stabilized, engine 1 stabilized, nothing red, nothing screaming at me. We'll start number 1.
Rate 4 with Oscar.
Southwest 3180.
Alright, N1 is stabilized.
Squawk
EGT's
1165, LaGuardia
also stabilized. We're good. We can set this back to
2925.
norm. Flaps 2. Alright. Here's a quick way to get the ATIS if you don't know. Right click, request controller info, information Oscar. Very last thing on the list and very first is the information. So the information has changed, weather's the same. And New York approach, Air Canada 707, holding short, taxiway Alpha LaGuardia, ready for taxi, runway 31.
Air Canada 707, runway 31, taxi via Alpha Zulu, hold short runway 31.
Alpha Zulu, hold short runway 31, Air Canada 707. New York approach, Canada 707, hold short runway 31, LaGuardia.
Air Canada 707, wind 340 or 13, runway 31, clear to takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 31, Air Canada 707. Got my flight number there for a second. And even if you're talking to like a center or a TRACON controller, they aren't specified in a certain airport, you always want to just a second, I'm gonna turn my light. You always want to say where you're on the ground at, because if it's a ground controller, well, duh, they're working over it and they know where you are. But if it's a center controller TRACON, they're working multiple places at the same time, so their life isn't always easy as you'd think it'd be. So he said for me to turn 360 after departure, because on my clearance it said heading 360, so do that. Make his life a little easier. If not, if I'm going the wrong way, well, there we go. Because it's been a while since I've flown in New York and I forget how they do things. Auto throttle. Alright, clear up. Okay. Auto throttle.
Southwest 3180, 3 miles, green, cross green out of 2,700, cleared ILS 114 approach.
V1. Okay. It's a hard rotation. Buzzer rate, gear up.
Terrain ahead, pull up. Terrain ahead, pull up.
Heading 360. Set on clearance. Nice. Okay. So, approach should call it.
Air Canada 707, radar contact to altitude passing.
Air Canada 707 is crossing 1600 for 5.
Air Canada 707, climb to maintain 15,000.
15,000, Air Canada 707. Flap 1.
Southwest 3180, wind.
Let's be up 220 knots. And once we get up there, realize the plane's climbing good, we'll bring up the flaps all the way. Do that now. I can climb.
Southwest 3188, firm, wind 340 at 13, runway 4, clear land.
Clear land, runway 4, Southwest 3188.
Air Canada 707, turn right heading 070, clear direct to Merritt when able. Correction, scratch that entire thing. Turn left heading 320, clear direct to Gale when able.
Heading 320 direct Gale, Air Canada 707. Alright. So here's a little trick. He told me to head heading 320 to find Gale. Okay. So I'll do that right now. Boom, direct Gale. Okay. If you see it, if he gives you a weird heading, just ask him if he's sure. But the controller found what he was doing, so that, oh right, he's looking at another plane in Merritt. The waypoint Merritt. That's not my flight plan, so it's a completely different waypoint we're talking. Completely different animal. So now from here we climb, and until he gives us new climb clearances, climb flight levels, we'll cruising and boozing.
Air Canada 707, leaving my airspace, New York Center currently offline. Radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. Have a see you.
Alright, frequency change approved to Unicom, ACA707. Thank you. Have a good day. Awesome. That was pretty smooth getting out of New York. A few errors made on both sides of the spectrum, but you know what? Errors are part of flying. And mistakes make you a better pilot. If you don't stop learning and making mistakes, you're going to get yourself killed in aviation. That's something very important to remember. Never forget that. Because if you're looking to go into flight training, just, if you make a mistake, don't punish yourself. Mistakes make you a better pilot.